Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit. It's Sunday, and we are going to break down all the betting lines. And it's early for me, and it's late for Maddie. So here we go.
Let's go. Yeah, whole football Sunday comes back around again. Favorite time of the week.
Yes. Well, according to Talking Heads, Justin Fields is an MVP. He can't be beat. No quarterback is better than him because he had 2 games where he didn't suck out of his whole career.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked very good. Like last in the last game, like you don't
Did
put
he?
40 points.
Did he? He only hit open receivers. This is the thing that I keep arguing. Like, if people go back, I watched the whole fucking shitty game, and he cannot hit anybody in a tight window. He only hits open receivers.
I mean, his stat line is he led an offense that scored 40 points. He threw for 282 yards and 4 touchdowns. DJ Moore got 230 of those yards with 3 touchdowns. Like, there's a lot of after the catch yards going on there and those kind of things. Like, look, I don't think he's like blew the world, but his second touchdown throw off the back foot to the back of the end zone throw was pretty spectacular. Like, he was good at stuff that people say. That second touchdown throw was in a tight window as well. But I do get what you mean.
I don't think he's for what, college?
I don't think he's come out and has been amazing. I think maybe he's made himself look more like a serviceable lower to mid tier starting QB towards running towards
I hope he plays
backup.
just well enough that Chicago never gets rid of him.
If he continues to play like that, then he just. I think the biggest story of that game is the Bears can actually play football if their defense does anything. Like, if their defense if they're not on the back foot from the jump, like the offense can make enough plays to win games, but the defense actually needs to hold up. So they were on a historical low in terms of pressures throughout the first few weeks of this season. And the other night they got 5 sacks on the Commanders to 3. They were living with loads of pressure. They were bringing pressure from other areas of the field, which they feel like they haven't been doing. So when the defense can kind of get a bit of pressure, then their game plan tends to come to them a bit more. They can run the ball more with Fields and Herbert as well. I think also maybe the conversation is the Commanders are not good.
I was just people going into this great wins against 2 bad teams. Go get them, Bears.
Yeah. So it's like odd. Fields is. They didn't win against you. You saying in the last year that they won against Denver as well, but they didn't win. This is their first win of the season.
Oh, that's right. It was a moral victory.
Yeah.
Chicago. The way they've been talking, it makes you feel like they won. My bad. Yeah, you're right.
They gave up a 21-point victory. They gave up a 21-point lead against the Denver Broncos at the other game. So his passes, Justin Fields' good passing performances have been against the team that let 70 go against the Dolphins and the Commanders, who have the 3rd worst pass defense in the league.
Can we have a little quick chat about how that was a rock solid stud defense for the last couple of years, and now it's not looking the same. The offense isn't great, and I'm blaming Ron Rivera, which I'm not sure I would ever say that was the biggest problem, but I'm blaming Ron Rivera for the way the Commanders look.
As much as it pains me to say, I think it is time for Ron Rivera to go in the Commanders because the experiment hasn't really worked. And look, they might have unearthed something here with Sam Howell. Like, Sam Howell might be a guy, you know?
Hey, that's Brett Jr., bro. That's Brett Jr. right there. Brett Favre Jr.
Okay, maybe more Taylor Heineke Jr.
No, I mean, watch that gunslinger. That motherfucker does not give a shit. Somebody will be.
He reminds me of Taylor Heineke.
Covered, and he's just like, take this. Cool.
they had Sam Howell 2 years ago. He's called Taylor Heineke. Like they're the same dude. Like in that building, in the past 2-3 years, they've had Ryan Fitzpatrick, Taylor Heineke, and now Sam Howell walk through the building. And as far as I'm concerned, they're all the same quarterback. I've been debating this year whether sacks is. I would like to get your input on this before I talk too much about it, but whether sacks are a QB stat or an offensive line stat.
I mean, it depends. Sometimes your line gets blown up, and sometimes in like the Bears case, a lot of times Fields holding the ball too fucking long.
Yes, yes, but Sam Howell is the embodiment of sacks or QB stat because he holds on to that ball longer than I've seen anybody hold on to that ball before. So he needs to start getting rid of the ball as well.
I don't know. He's young, and I think he will be better than both Heineke and Fitzpatrick by the time it's over.
If I was the Commanders, I'd be looking for not to overreact, but Ron Rivera hasn't been it for a while, and he's made enough individual mistakes as well it's not the right decisions.
Ron Rivera is the same guy who didn't even know who the fuck Sam Howell was last year when Taylor Heineke brought him up to him, and he was the head coach of the team.
Yeah.
How as a head coach of a team do you not know who your fucking quarterback that you drafted was?
Like not going for the win, which is easier said than done here, but just statistically, it would have been better for them to go again for the win against the Eagles because they're tired, because they're gassed, and it's like you need 2 yards. Like your team, you're so freaked out that your team are gassed when you need 2 yards. That's a you problem, man. That's a your coaching issue.
And even if they were gassed and you were worried about it, you don't think they're going to be gassed playing a whole nother quarter?
The whole thing just didn't make any sense. So they gave up that win, and then they looked bad, and the Bears still managed to let them back in it. Like I know it 40 points to 20, like all right, big win, but there was a point where the Bears were letting the Commanders come back in it as well. Like I don't think this, like a lot of people say, like, oh, this solves Ryan Pace's job. This helps Eberflus's job, and it's like, but if you actually look at it, they still made the mistakes that they've been making. It's just the Commanders are also terrible.
Yeah.
However, good GM and stuff to manage to get rid of Claypool for something. The fact that they got anything for Claypool is pretty impressive.
Wait. Yeah, but so they traded away the 32nd pick. It was a second round pick last year, but in any other year, that's a first round pick. It's just it wasn't last year because of Miami. So they essentially traded a first round pick for Claypool to be on their team for like 8-9 games or whatever the fuck it was, and then sent him to Miami where they are going to look even more fucking stupid. And I don't know what else they should have done. Yes, you have to get rid of him, but you're going to look dumb because he's going to go ball the fuck out in Miami as a third wide receiver. So the Bears are going to look extra stupid even after this is done.
Yeah, after they get a 2025
like think about
6th round pick.
And they gave up Claypool and a 7th for that 6th round pick.
Yeah, so they only like move up.
They just swap picks.
They just swap. He's when they did this last year, I remember saying, and we were very much in like, what the fuck are the Bears doing mode around that time. We were going like, what are the Bears trying to do with this trade for Claypool here? Because everything else that they'd done was build for the future, build for the future, build for the future. And then all of a sudden, they come out with this pick out of nowhere and pick up Claypool, who is Claypool a top wide receiver? Like, I'm not sure. We haven't seen it for a long enough period of time where it deserves to be a question now. However, his quarterbacks have been
his rookie year.
Yeah, his quarterbacks since his rookie year have been arm falling off Ben Roethlisberger, Kenny Pickett, and Justin Fields. So let's see when he goes to Miami. But also, Claypool's not getting open at all. But then he's also not that type of wide receiver anyway. So yeah,
And
let's see what
and
Claypool's
now
got before we make that judgment. But the process is
In Miami,
horrendous.
you gotta focus on Hill and Waddle in Miami.
Mm,
So Claypool should be open all day long every day. He should be like 7-Eleven, open 24 hours.
mm, yeah. It's good acquisition for them. Terrifying for other teams in the AFC. Anyway,
The Bears are so
that win against the Bears,
dysfunctional.
that win against the Commanders does nothing for the Bears really in terms of moving the needle towards actually fixing what's wrong with the Bears.
Yeah, because I think the big thing is what's wrong with the Bears is the coaching and the GM. So until you get rid of them, there's really no fixing them.
Yeah, same. Like same in that game, it was still evidence. They won by 20 points, and there was still evidence that there was poor coaching and poor GM behavior.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about some of today's games. We'll start out with the Houston Texans at the Atlanta Falcons. The Texans on the road are 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, in this game, the way that the Falcons started the season, you were like, oh, maybe the Falcons can make a run. Like maybe they can make it to the playoffs, like the battle of the 2-2 teams. But CJ Stroud looks like he's the best quarterback from this draft so far. Like CJ Stroud looks like the real fucking deal. Like game manager plus that type of realm. And Nico Collins is balling out as well. And they're being coached pretty well. Has Damian Pierce started putting up any fantasy points for you yet? Or is he still being a bit of a
He sits around 10 per game.
Not good fantasy points for Damian Pierce.
So every quarterback in the league is a quarterback plus to you, because that's your new saying that I hear with every quarterback now.
No, he's like so the where I see CJ Stroud and the idea of game manager plus is Stroud, Dak, Purdy, like those guys where you have to put people around them, but they can probably go win a game as well.
Purdy.
I don't know.
So Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence?
It's difficult with Purdy, isn't it? Because it's not a fair evaluation. It's like you put a kid into an assignment and you give them all the answers and then you praise them for getting all the answers right, but you've given them all the answers. But you don't know if that kid would have got the answers right anyway if you didn't give them all the answers. That's Purdy's evaluation issue for me.
He hasn't lost a regular season game in his career.
And the only time he has lost a game is because he's fallen off. Like, it doesn't mean that inside game manager plus, it's more the style of play than the evaluation, than the level of player. Like, Brock Purdy is probably one of the best people at being a game manager plus, you know?
No, I don't, but that's okay.
Yeah. So you would never say that the way that I think about it anyway, and the way that I think that this works in my head is that I would never say that Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert are kind of like game manager pluses because it's always put on their plate, go out and win the game, go out and ball out. That doesn't mean that I don't think Brock Purdy plays better than they do because he distributes the ball and just plays a different style of game where it's not for Brock Purdy to be the highlight in a win, whereas for Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, it's be the highlight in the win. Does that more make sense of what I'm trying to say?
No, I get where you're going with it. I just I don't know, I don't like the idea of like Purdy not getting more respect, I guess, because I think that Brock Purdy shows a lot more than people give him credit for. So maybe I'm just caping up for Brock Purdy.
I mean, we'll probably talk about Brock Purdy last on the show because obviously the Cowboys are playing the 49ers this week, but like Brock Purdy, it's because he's been given all the answers, everything around him, so you don't really know how great he is. But that doesn't mean that he's not great. It's just difficult to assess the greatness when you're surrounded by greatness.
Do you take if you have a choice, do you take Dak or Purdy?
Well, I've done it with my fantasy team. I've taken Purdy.
Because I'm just saying, a kid who's been in the league 1 year and made it to the NFC Championship game against a guy who's been in the league 8 years and never even sniffed the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean, there's other factors in that.
Is there? Because I hear every year, best team on paper is the Cowboys. The best team on paper is the Cowboys.
When have you heard that best team on paper is the Cowboys in this era of this 49ers team?
Every year you hear it.
This 49ers team is better on paper than the Cowboys team.
Every year I hear on TV from every talking head, Cowboys best team in the NFL if they can pull it together. And then you go on Facebook and all you hear is, we them boys, this our year.
Don't listen to those people. They're idiots. But we'll move on to, I'm sure we'll talk about the Cowboys and 49ers loads more.
But yeah, let's go back. Texans
save ourselves. The Texans and the Falcons. Give me the Texans 2.5.
I agree.
CJ Stroud walks all over Desmond Ridder in every facet of his game.
This all started because I was picking up for CJ Stroud too. And then I went to the Brock Purdy fucking thing because I was like, wait, what? But all right. Another team with a shit quarterback, the Steelers, will be taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers are at home, and the Ravens are. Oh, I lied to you. Hey, we got to go back. Atlanta's favored by 2.5. My bad.
Wow, really? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, and I read that wrong. My bad. I think my brain just assumed the Texans would be favored. I'm still taking the Texans.
Be the favorites. Give me the Texans and the money line then.
Yeah, so it's saying on a neutral field, the Texans would be a 0.5-point favorite.
Right. Give me the Texans and the money line on that one then. I don't need the points.
Okay. I'm taking the points. All right, now on to the Ravens at the Steelers. The Ravens are favored on the road by 4.5.
Well, the Steelers' offense is horrible. Matt Canada is the most. Imagine being given the keys to an offense in the National Football League and still being one of the most boring people in any room. Like, imagine that.
Canada,
imagine not having fun with that. Yeah, Matt Canada. So that Steelers
CBS reporter said that Matt Canada said to them, "We're not built to come from behind," but Matt Canada is denying ever saying that.
I would respect him more if he did say it, because they're not. Like, that's. I never understand things like that, because it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Like, we're not built from coming from behind, and we can all see that, and everybody knows that. But also the way that he runs his offense is. Kenny Pickett must sit on the sideline of some games and think that, look, Kenny Pickett is probably not even a top 20 quarterback in the National Football League, but he must sit on the sidelines in some games and go, God, I wish I had somebody who ran motions. Like, simple motion. Like, Matt Canada's offense doesn't do any of that. It's so stagnant. It's just...
To go back to your Brock Purdy point, you said Brock Purdy has all the answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Matt Canada refuses to even give a hint by sending motion to his quarterback. He refuses to do anything that helps his quarterback get the answer before this ball is snapped.
Yeah. Again, we'll go back to high school tests and the way that. So Brock Purdy has a teacher who gives him the answers and says, there you go, here's the answers, and teaches him very, very well and gives him the answers so he can go off. So then he's able to use those answers and put them into play and answer the right questions. Matt Canada doesn't even give Kenny Pickett the fucking questions in a test. Like, Kenny Pickett just has to guess like what Matt Canada wants from him the entire time. You know, there is no question. Matt Canada is one of the most infuriating offensive coordinators in the league. How do you create something so boring?
No, I love Mike Tomlin, but like, bro, and maybe I love Mike Tomlin because like I'm kind of a homer. He was a Vikings defensive coordinator who I met the one year he was there and got to have a conversation with him. And sometimes personal shit sticks with us, even if we realize it or not. But like, I'm starting to question Mike Tomlin's decisions by not doing anything to fix that problem.
They have nice comparative ball, I guess, but that only works if you have an unbelievable defense. And I think the Steelers defense is more of a myth. Like a myth of the Steelers defense. Like, it's not bad. I'm not saying they have one of the worst defenses in the league or anything. It's just, it's more of, we're the Steelers, so we have a great defense, rather than like, oh, this is how our defense looks and it's actually good. You know how people are still surprised that KC has a good defense this year just because of who KC is? Same deal, but the other way. So Matt Canada's fine if you can keep them out the entire fucking time. Like, Matt Canada's fine if you
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. Thanks, Mom.
Matt Canada is fine if you're keeping them to under 20 points a game, but you're not keeping them to under 20 points a game, so they need to go fucking score some points as well. And they can't do that. And also, Kenny Pickett's not Ben Roethlisberger. So, yeah. You're all right, mate.
Well, yeah, I fucked my knee up last week, and now I just fucking tweaked it, but we're good. That just hurt.
I thought it was just you feeling sorry for having to watch any Matt Canada football team play offense. I thought you were wincing at the thought of a route tree.
No, you know you're getting old when you stand up last week and tweak the inside of your fucking knee. And I have this thing where I sit with my legs crossed my whole life, and so I was just sitting that way and uncrossed my legs, and fucking I hurt my knee again. So everybody got to watch me make weird, stupid faces.
It's like cracking all the way. Like, you uncross your legs, and it's like when they pull like you know, when you get like wrap and popping bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Like when you uncross your legs, and it's just like, it's like Optimus Prime going from like a truck to a robot. That's the sounds that are coming out.
I don't know if that's your MCL or your LCL, but whichever one's on the inside, I think I pulled it.
Oh dear. That's a long injury. That's a long injury. That's out for 4 weeks. Unless you get hopped up on a shit ton of drugs.
I'm just glad that bitch isn't torn and I don't need surgery, so we'll be good. But I'm not even sold on where the Ravens are this year. I thought the Ravens were going to be better than they were so far, which they're not horrible, but I just thought, oh, fuck, they're going to be a better team. But I'm still taking the Ravens minus 4.5.
I think the Ravens have been underwhelming, but I think they're kind of getting it right. Obviously, a change of offensive scheme and everything. So I think maybe they're just getting it right. Lamar didn't play much football. So yes, underwhelming. And I think, remember, we were all very excited to see Lamar with the prospect of having decent wide receivers, and all of his wide receivers are injured already. So Zay Flowers looks good as well. But yeah, I'll take the Ravens in this one.
Well, as we move on, I will say it again. If your name is Zay, you're fucking somehow can play in the NFL. That's all I know.
If your name is Zay, you're guaranteed to be an unbelievable wide receiver in the NFL.
All right. Here's a game that I saw the point spread yesterday. Okay. And I hadn't seen many of the point spreads yesterday, but I saw the point spread to the Saints at the Patriots. And I was like, 1.5. Okay. The Patriots are favored by 1.5. Bringing JC Jackson home. I'm guessing he'll play because it's the same scheme that he played in when he was there. So I'm guessing he'll play. I am having a hard time with this game. I'm not 100% sure on how I feel about this game.
Neither team can move the ball, and both of them have decent. What's the over-under on this? 38?
Yep, 38.5.
Fucking go me. Yeah. 38 is the under. That kind of tells you all you need to know. This is going to be a defensive tussle. Two teams that have decent defenses, but I mean, the Saints gave up 26 points against the Bucks last week. The Patriots obviously gave up 30 odd against the Cowboys, but that's 38 against the Cowboys, but a lot of that is due to their offense as well. They just can't move the ball, either of them. The Saints scored 9 points last week, and the Patriots scored 3. I think the Saints are a more well-rounded team. I think the fact that Mac Jones had to get benched for Zappy is not going to go down well in terms of confidence and everything like that as well. But then Derek Carr can't play in the red zone at all. So what do you want from there? I don't even know what to think on this game. I wouldn't bet on it if I was you, but give me the Saints -1.
Okay. Well, it'd be the Saints, and you get 1.5 points. So
yeah,
give me the Saints in the money line. Just give me the fucking Saints in the money line, and let's call it a day.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'm doing it because I trust Derek Carr more than I trust Mac Jones, which is not saying a whole lot. But and I also trust the skilled positions of the Saints more than I trust the skilled positions of the Patriots.
I think that's if you went through wide receiver rooms where you have Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and compare it to the Patriots wide receiver room, which at the moment is.
Do you remember last year when I just got fucking beat up before the draft by somebody in our comments for praising Chris Olave? I feel a little vindicated right now.
It was really popular to hate every single. It was really popular to hate every single Ohio State wide receiver. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was really. Who was the other one? Was Garrett Wilson the other Ohio State one as well?
Yeah.
In that draft, and it was really popular to hate on them both, and obviously they're both unreal. So yeah.
And everybody was saying that those two were the only reason CJ Stroud was any good, but yet they were shitting on those two. Yeah. You know, it was a weird dynamic where they're like, oh, CJ Stroud sucks because he has 2 great receivers. But then when they were coming out in the draft, they were all like, I don't think these receivers are that great. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I watched a lot of Ohio State, and Chris Olave can play. Because not only is he quick, he like runs good routes. And people really hammered me last year for defending Chris Olave.
Do you know who got the most receiving yards for the Patriots against the Cowboys last week? They got 51 yards on 4 receptions. Not Zeke.
I don't know. I was being
Zeke got 6 yards off 2 receptions. Hunter Henry was their leading.
Hunter Henry did me some good last year in spots for fantasy football.
Hunter Henry's fine. Like, Hunter Henry is a very serviceable tight end. You're doing all right if you've got Hunter Henry at tight end.
If you had a better quarterback.
If
they had a better quarterback, he'd probably be better too.
I don't know. I just think it's if they have a better, like their wide receiver room is Devontae Parker, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kendrick Bourne.
And there was a time where Devontae Parker was supposed to light the world on fire before he got drafted to Miami, and it's not the same anymore.
Yeah, that's a very slow wide receiver room for trying to create any separation. Look, Mac Jones probably isn't it, but I feel like if Mac Jones was at the 49ers, like he could run an offense like that. You know what I mean? Like if Mac Jones was in a situation where their wide receivers could run faster than a 4.5, then he might have a chance.
Before we move on, there is some rumors that Bill Belichick really likes that rookie wide receiver Cunningham, or quarterback. That rookie quarterback Cunningham. So maybe he's trying to figure out how to get fucking Mac Jones the hell out of there.
Yeah, which is again that's a shame for Mac Jones though. Like Mac Jones has done enough of a service, I think, to be given the go with some actual fucking weapons.
I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree. But would it might almost be better for Mac Jones to see somewhere else with a different coach?
100%. If you put what would be ideal here for somebody like Mac Jones is if a team like the Jets picked him up. Obviously, Bill Belichick would never let that happen in division and stuff like that. But is Mac Jones better than Zach Wilson? Yeah, probably. Mac Jones probably costs you less games than Zach Wilson ever does.
Okay. Last week, Zach Wilson was better than Mac Jones, but I agree with your premise. But I don't want the people in the comments to go, "Did you see how he fucking played last week?" And
yeah,
so I just
is that not just because of what is around him though? Like when Zach Wilson played against the Cowboys, he got walked like even more than Mac Jones did. Apart from the scrambling from Zach Wilson was the only time they looked any good. So
Zach Wilson has way more talent. I trust Jones more than I trust Wilson. Does that make sense? Like if you just 100%. Bottle talent, Zach Wilson has so much talent. It's just I trust Mac Jones to make better decisions.
Yeah, I think that's more what the Jets need than look, Zach Wilson as a Panther would be fucking brilliant. So fun to watch. Oh. You know what I mean? Because they've got fucking nothing. Like you put Zach Wilson on a team where you've got nothing to lose by having Zach Wilson in the backfield. In the Jets, you have something to lose because you have a top defense and wide receiver weapons.
All right. This is a game I'm really interested to see where you go, Maddie. It's the Panthers at the Lions, but the spread is 9.5. The Lions are favored by 9.5. That's a big spread. So I was wondering what you think about that game.
I would never trust the Lions to cover a 9.5 point spread. You know what I mean? I've stopped trying to bet on games this big. I've also seen the Dolphins and Giants spread as well coming up next, which is fucking crazy. So those big spread games. Do the Lions have enough nous in terms of their game management, in terms of their coaching staff's game management, to stay 9.5 points ahead if the Panthers have some kind of resurgence? Talent-wise, 9.5 points give me the Lions. It's just, do I trust the Lions to make up 9.5 points? I think the answer is no. So I think the Panthers are going to give me the Panthers as the spread. I think the Lions are going to win, but give me the Panthers they'll cover the spread. Is that right?
I agree with you.
They'll be within. Yeah.
I agree with you. And Josh Allen just threw a pick.
Oh, the delay's over. Did you see what the delay was for?
No, but I didn't wake up until halftime.
But there was just a big delay just then. Like they only just started playing again.
No, I don't know what that was for. When I got up, they were just starting to resume play when I turned it on.
All right, okay. I wonder what that was for. Josh Allen's being Josh Allen.
Maybe it was tea and crumpets.
Maybe. Must have been.
Do you guys still really do the whole tea and crumpets thing, or is that some 19 or 1880s thing?
I like tea and I like crumpets. Not necessarily together. It's more of a 1980s thing, I would say.
Okay.
Crumpets. Yeah.
Fair enough. I just had to ask. So
love
we're
it.
both in agreement. We're both thinking the Lions will win, but neither of us like the 9.5. So we're taking the Panthers.
I don't like the Lions' ability to close out a game like that.
All right. Well, with the next game, I'm going to make this easy. You just brought it up. It's the Giants at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored by 13. I hate huge point spreads. Give me the Dolphins. I think they got something to prove after last week. I think that they're angry on the way things went. And I just trust that team. I trust McDaniel. I trust Tua. I trust the wide receiving core. I trust the running backs. I trust the defense. Like, I got a lot of trust that I've never had in this Miami team. I don't think I've trusted this Miami team since Dan Marino played for him. Okay. Like, I feel like this is great for Miami. It's great for Tua. I love watching that dude. Like, and this is, you can feel however you want about religion. You can feel however you want about faith. I respect anybody who lives their life like, this is how I am. This is my moral compass, and this is what I'm doing. And he stands very strong in what he believes, and he's balling out. I'm very happy for Tua. I am.
Where do you rank Tua in NFL QBs?
See, it's weird. He's definitely top 15, and sometimes I feel like he's top 10, so I don't know.
He's like, it's another one of, it's a difficult assessment because of it's so easy to say, well, he needs help around them. Well, all quarterbacks need help around them. It's just different levels of help. But then there's other quarterbacks who are much better at using the help around them as well. Like,
this is where he's weird for me. So a lot of times I'll think when I'm rating quarterbacks, can I drop him in another team and will he be just as good? Could I drop him on the Cowboys? Could I drop him on the Vikings? Could I drop him on the 49ers? Would he just be as good on the Eagles? I don't know. I don't know what Tua. I think Tua might be in the perfect spot for him.
I think there's also that, like, so that's the Brock Purdy question for me. It's if I picked up Brock Purdy and I put him behind, if I put him in Denver, how much better is he than Russell Wilson?
I just took, when I did it, I took teams with explosive offenses, to be fair to Tua. But I get what you're saying. I do. I get what you're saying. But I think Brock Purdy, as a rookie, may not have done as well. But I think as this year, in his second year, I think he'd be really good on the teams I just listed. I do. And I think Purdy's just getting better and better, too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Purdy, they're more difficult evaluations than I question their talent at all in terms of like actually ranking them, which is why you hesitate. So I hesitate to go like, oh yeah, top 10 straight away with both of them just because of the difficult evaluation rather than I don't think they can do it. I also think like in the NFL at the moment, we have about 15 top 10 quarterbacks. Which is
like, you know, my favorite saying, there's always 15 in the top 10 until you write them down, right? Like,
The other side of this is obviously the Dolphins look great.
Oh, we're both getting shrapnel from fucking bringing smoke today.
How can somebody who's universally told his shit be overrated? That's
wait,
like whether you
think
whether you think Kirk is good or not, there's no way that Kirk Cousins can be overrated because everybody thinks he's shit. So he can't be overrated.
Well, maybe he's talking to me because I don't think Kirk is shit. Maybe that is a personal shot from bringing smoke. But I feel like sometimes
Kirk.
bringing smoke comes in, drops some bombs, and just leaves the show. Like, doesn't finish watching.
The other side of this Dolphins-Giants game is the fact that the Giants gave up 11 sacks last week against the Seahawks. And like, Daniel Jones is an okay quarterback as well, like probably in that 15 to 20 range. Like, I don't hate Daniel Jones. I'm one of Daniel Jones's bigger fans and think he might be sometimes, people forget his athletic ability that he has. People forget that the Giants don't have an offense, a wide receiver and things like that. He can't, if you're getting sacked 11 times, like what the, like, why was he still playing in that game after being sacked for the 7th time? Like, pull him out at that point, you know, like there's no reason for him to be taking that level of punishment. And the Dolphins, I think, have a better pass rush than the Seahawks do. So, look, I'm going to take the Dolphins minus 13. Again, I wouldn't bet on this game, but I just think the Giants' offensive line is so horrible that it's going to be difficult for them to do anything.
All right.
Over under 47.5. That's got to be the Dolphins are going to put up like big numbers, though, doesn't it?
Trevor Lawrence just did some amazing spin out for a first down, but I think it's coming back on a flag.
That's always a shame.
So we're going to go to the Titans and the Colts, and I was actually waiting to talk about this game. The Titans are actually favored on the road by 2.5, but I got to say this. So I got to tweak my assessment of Anthony Richardson. I do.
Mm-hmm.
And because of Pat McAfee show, which I watch too much, they call him Tony Richardson, which fucks me up. So if I ever say that, guys, it's because I watch them too much. He's Cam Newton.
Okay, that's a big tweak of assessment.
He is. He's not the most accurate dude, but the dude can fucking play. And the more I watch him, I don't think I gave him the credit in the going into the draft for he's more accurate than I thought he was. And I'm not saying he's super accurate, but he's more accurate than I gave him credit for.
Okay.
And I just have to put that out there.
I like it. I don't think I'd go that far yet, personally. I also think he's already missed time of playing because of injury.
Yeah, they were being very careful with him, which I like too. Yeah. I do. I like that. The concussion made me a little nervous, but they did say that he probably could have played the next week, but they aired on caution, which I like because they're not winning a Super Bowl or nothing this year. So protect this kid. But the more I watch him and I go back and watch the short games and stuff, I'm more impressed with him. I thought he would just be all legs. Like, you know what I mean? Like I killed Justin Fields for. But he's actually more accurate than I gave him credit for because he has hit some fucking lasers.
I'm finding it difficult when they arguably look more likely to win a football game when they play Gardner Minshew.
I don't disagree with that, but you're talking about like a seasoned guy in the NFL to a rookie who's just coming on. And there's a lot of stuff that Gardner Minshew is going to get to the line and understand before the snap that Richardson's not going to understand until the end of this year, going into the next year. I'm just saying I beat up Anthony Richardson pretty good in the draft process, and I'm just pulling back. I think he's more Cam Newton than he is bust.
It's just that two wins so far.
Like a Hall of Famer or anything like everybody else does either, though. Cam Newton for me was a pretty good quarterback who was super athletic.
Cam Newton only would have gotten to the Hall of Fame if he won Super Bowl 50. If they won Super Bowl 50 for that. I just think that season is so elite. Cam Newton is the Russell Westbrook of the NFL. Like, plays full speed. I like Cam Newton. I'm not sure whether that comparison's been earned yet from Anthony Richardson, but I see what you mean in terms of characteristics as well, in terms of play. Colts Titans, is Jonathan Taylor playing?
He just got a new contract.
I have moral obligations towards this entire situation, by the way. I have moral standpoints on this, where Jonathan Taylor signs a new contract and then all of a sudden he's cleared to play. Like, surely there's got to be an NFL fine hovering around somewhere for that.
We knew they were using the PUP as a punishment, but they did the exact same show that yours truly, or they did the exact same thing with his contract that yours truly said on the show they should do. They just guaranteed the next 2 years of the franchise tag, pretty much.
Yeah. It's what any running back wants, surely. Just as if running backs can get guaranteed money, then you'd lap it up, don't you?
Yeah, because you could get injured and get nothing. And I think that's all he really wanted was some like life-changing security, right? So I forget, it's 40-some million, I think, is the contract, but it's really a $26 million 3-year contract, okay? Not bad for a running back right now with the 4 he makes this year. So he's pushing like $10 million a year for the next 3 years.
Jonathan Taylor, 3 years, $42 million. That includes $26.5 million guaranteed.
Right. So he's making with his 4 this year pretty much 30 over the next 3. For a running back right now, that's decent money. I hate to say it, but that's where they're at. Josh
Yeah,
Jacobs,
he's worth
10 million or 11 million. Saquon Barkley, a little over 11 million. Like, that seems like a real fair place right now with the shit running back market for Jonathan Taylor.
One of the things I quite like to do, and I haven't done it for a while, but I think this game suits it very well, is try and pick which game is going to finish first in the window. And I feel like this game is going to finish first due to the amount of running that is going to happen between the Titans and the Colts.
That Vikings game last week was 2 hours and 44 minutes. Like, it was like the fastest game I've seen in forever. Yeah, it's crazy when they run the ball and the clock keeps going, how fast a game can actually go by.
Yeah, I feel like this game can be up there with one of the faster games because it's in both teams' best interest to establish the run and play defense and just not let go of the ball.
Give me the Titans minus the 2.5.
I'll take the Colts. I'll take the points on the Colts there. I think the Colts have shown me enough so far this season. I have no confidence in the Titans to string performances together.
Yeah, well, as we were talking yesterday, and you were like, what was one of the things you were going to dunk or shit on me for in the group chat? It was your comments on Derrick Henry. But I remember now that we were talking about it.
What did I say about Derrick Henry? Oh, yeah.
That he's not playing that well in it.
I said that I stand by the comment. The context it was used in is more trying to get players in fantasy.
Yeah.
I stand by the comment factually. I'm not saying that it makes that much of a difference. Derrick Henry is playing less snaps this season than he has in previous seasons.
Oh, here we go. The Jags are making me look fucking smart today. ETN for a touchdown. All right. So
the Bills are the best team in football. The Bills are the best team in the AFC.
Yeah, Josh Allen's the best quarterback. I heard this the other day too. But
Josh Allen is MVP. It's like, dude, he's known for doing this to you. Like, stop getting excited. They'll score 7 points next week.
This next game is a game where the point spread kind of fucking blew me away, but I get it. The Bengals at the Cardinals, and the Bengals are only favored by 3. Now, give me the Bengals minus 3, but like that, they're really banking on Joe Burrow just being shit this whole year, aren't they?
Imagine saying this at the start of the season. Like I said at the start of the season, the Bengals will have a regression this year. Like I thought it was about time for the Bengals to maybe take a bit of a step back, like just for this year. Like a lot of the things have been rolling their way recently, and it's been the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals. I thought they'd probably take a step back, but not this big a step back. And also added to this, who the fuck thought Josh Dobbs would be any good? Did you think that Josh Dobbs would? I thought he'd be okay. Like, he's looked all right. Not like this.
I said it last week. He's not playing like great, but he's playing way better than I thought he would.
Yeah. I would have, like, when me and the Canadian were trying to work out a trade on fantasy football, I was like, I would think about Josh Dobbs being included in that trade and stuff like that.
Josh Dobbs,
and then I came around to my senses.
He just guaranteed himself another 5 to 7 years in the NFL as a backup because of this year.
He's backup for life. He's got himself a life contract as a backup in the NFL. He is the new Brian Hoyer of the NFL. This is a hard one for me because what have the Bengals shown me? The Cardinals have looked better than the Bengals so far this season. They just have. They've played with more heart.
Are you doing it?
Yeah. Let's do it. I'm
taking Arizona plus 3?
I'm taking Arizona plus 3.
Nice. I like it. All right.
Let's do it.
So here's a game, Maddie, that I literally thought about a lot last night. It's the Eagles at the Rams.
Crazy.
The Rams are 4-point favorites. A
No,
part of me
4-point
wants
dogs.
to take the fucking Rams. It really does. A part of me wants to. I just can't do it. I'm taking the Eagles -4. But there's a part of me that really wants to take the Rams in this game because they're playing good.
Is that over under at 50?
Over under 50.5.
That's fun. You can pass on the Eagles. That's true so far this season. You can get yards. Nakua could come up and get yards. Cooper Kupp is playing and back playing as well
Puka
for
Kanua.
this game.
Puka Nakua. I got it. I just wanted to
There you
prove to
go.
everybody I got it. I told him to give me a
You got
couple
it,
weeks.
man. Impressive. Puka Nakua is going to drop back to wide receiver 2, or he'll probably be wide receiver 1 this week, whilst Cooper Kupp is
Okay.
working his way back and those kind of things.
I really hope the Canadian ain't watching, but I think Puka's going to be the number 1 all year because I think he's just going to outplay Cooper Kupp.
I agree with you. That's why I'm trying to trade for him with the Canadian. I'm pretty sure he doesn't watch. He should. He might learn something if he did, but...
And dude, it's really early in the Pacific Northwest right now, too. It's like 9:30 in the morning, so I think we're good.
Okay, everybody in the chat, everybody watching, just so you know, what I've been trying to trade for Puka Nakua for the past day is... Oh, it's shit as well. It's Adam Thielen, Jake Ferguson, and Alexander Mattison. And by the way, I would be giving him Mattison would be his running back 1, Ferguson would be his tight end 1, and Thielen would end up being a wide receiver 2 for him as well. So that's the trade. So let me know what you think of that trade in the chat and whether you would take it. The correct answer is no, don't take it. It's idiotic, but the Canadians team is so rough that it's... And remember, we're playing in a 14-person league, so
he's got no running back.
Yeah, it's a 14-person league, so Alexander Mattison getting you 15 points on average at running back is a big deal in our league and stuff. But anyway, moving swiftly on, I really like what the Rams have done this season. I don't think the Eagles are running full pelt. Just the Rams offensive line looks like it can explode whenever, at any point. Give me the Eagles, as much as it pains me to say.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to a game that's already got me in my fucking nerves today. The Chiefs are at the Vikings. The Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. Here is a kind of a cool stat that means absolutely nothing. The Vikings have not lost a home game in week 5 since 1999.
That's crazy. The Vikings are also one of 2 teams that I get to lose to Patrick Mahomes. You haven't played them yet, but...
No, and Kirk Cousins has the chance to be the 5th quarterback ever in the NFL to beat all 32 teams in his career this year if he beats the Chiefs and then beat Cincinnati. Whoa, we lost Maddie. I guess I'll ride out on this one until he comes back. Leave it to Maddie to leave me sitting here during Vikings pick. But this game's got me nervous, but I really do feel like there is a real chance that the Vikings can win this game. I think they've been playing pretty decent this year, except for the turnovers. I think they have anybody who watched the game, they have a shot of being 4-0, and I'm not saying they should be, but they had a shot of being 4-0 this year because they were in every game they played. So I'm real caught on this point spread in the game, and I go back and forth. But I'm going to ride up my Vikings plus 3.5.
Do you think they're going to win the game, or do you think they're just going to be within plus?
I do think they have a really good shot of winning this game. The Chiefs aren't as good as they have been, and the Vikings are better than their record. So I do think there is a chance. I think they have a really good chance of pulling this off. So I'm just going to ride with it.
What do you think is more likely? That Patrick Mahomes throws for 2 interceptions again, So after last week throwing for 2 interceptions, or the Vikings fumble problems continuing in this game.
No more fumbling, and I think that Mahomes gets sacked 4 to 5 times.
All right, okay. Do you know what? If they start fucking calling that Chiefs left tackle Taylor, is that right?
Yeah.
If they call him for every false start that he makes, then you might not be far off there. It's so weird because they call him. They've started calling him for false starts quite a lot. He's one of the most penalized offensive linemen in the league so far this season, but he's still only penalized on about 10% of his false starts. Because if you were to penalize him for every false start, you would get him every single play.
So let me guess,
That's
you're
the
taking the
level of
Chiefs
full
minus
start.
the 3.5?
I think the Chiefs' defense is very stout, and the Vikings' defense still has its problems. So I'll take the Chiefs at 3.5.
All right. Well, be prepared. Harrison Smith's getting at least 2 sacks this game.
All right, I like it. Hey, I'm not saying that I don't want it to happen.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the should we call this the Hackett Peyton game? Is that what this is? The Jets at the Broncos, where the Jets are 2.5-point favorites. Sean Payton talked a lot of shit about Nathaniel Hackett this offseason. The Jets players seem to love him. I think the Broncos are complete trash. I think they're worse than I thought they were going to be. And I will take the Jets with the plus 2.5.
I think just the Broncos' defensive problems are what lets them down, right? Like, yeah, it's easy to blame Russell Wilson. It is easy to blame Russell Wilson for everything, but their defense is shockingly bad. And when you're coming from that far back, that's going to be a struggle. Jay, do I play Zach Wilson or Brock Purdy in fantasy football this week?
Oh.
Obviously, Brock Purdy's better, but
yeah, that's
in
the
terms
problem,
of matchup,
like, Brock Purdy's going to get sacked a couple times, and I probably sit Purdy.
I think I might have to sit Purdy because he's playing against the Cowboys as well. Okay, I'll think
Jets
on
or
it.
Broncos favored by 2.5.
Yeah, give me the Jets at 2.5 as well. I think their run game is far superior to the Broncos, and their defense walks all over the Broncos as well. So I think that Russell Wilson could have quite a difficult day, and especially if he's coming back from behind, which is very Broncos.
Yeah, and they better hope that Breece Hall doesn't run for 300 yards on the Broncos.
Game of the week. Game that everybody should be watching this week is Cowboys against the 49ers.
We already did the Chiefs. We already did the Chiefs 40 or the Chiefs.
Hey, do you know what? That is the second best game this week, I would say.
It is actually the game of the week, though. So when you said it, I was being a smartass. You know, they have one game of the week that's actually the game of the week. So I thought I'd be a smartass. Yeah. But we're talking Cowboys at the Niners. Cowboys are favored by 3.5 at home.
The 49ers not favored by.
That's what I meant.
3.5.
That's what I meant. I meant the 49ers. I just said it wrong.
The money is moving. It was 2.5 2 days ago. That means that the 49ers is 6.5 on a neutral field.
No, they're at home. So it means they're a half a point.
Sorry,
half
other way
a point
around.
on the neutral field.
Yeah.
I'm still taking the 49ers.
Okay, so the Cowboys have a real problem against the 49ers, and the Cowboys defense on grass is not as effective. I think if this was in Dallas, I'd be taking Dallas straight up. I think we have the entire point of the roster that we've been creating is to play against the 49ers.
So you're taking the Cowboys in the money line?
No, I'm going to take the Cowboys at plus 3.5. We've been creating this team to play against the 49ers. Let's see if they can do it.
It's not a bad idea to take the points because it probably should be a pretty close game.
Yeah, definitely the under on 45 as well, by the way.
I don't bet them, but give me the over.
I see that as a defensive tussle.
Yeah, I see. I see Christian McCaffrey running for 180 yards.
Yeah, that would be a fucking disaster. That would be a real problem. Christian McCaffrey is what I'm worried about this entire game.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is a fucking monster. There is not even an argument who is the best running back in the NFL right now.
Yeah, there's also the thing where it's like, how do you play against Micah Parsons, and it's you counterbalance. You show him the cheese and make him take the bait, make him overextend, and then you just run Christian McCaffrey right at him. So hopefully they've been training Micah Parsons this week to just say, Micah, I know that you like to just go and get straight after him, but just contain. Just let's run contain first. Let's contain them.
It looks like no matter what happens and who wins this Jags game, I'm a winner because I got the Jags +5 and I got 5.5 points too. So looking good for me over here.
I just think the love on the Bills was far too soon.
I've always said it. Josh Allen is
football.
Josh Allen is super talented, and he makes dumbass decisions at the worst possible times.
Yeah, I hate shouty football shows. Like, one week it's the Bills are the worst, and then the next we should do a segment where we analyze the worst takes of the week.
I don't want to talk about Skip Bayless that much.
So the flip-flopping that I can't stand. Do a bad take, but just at least admit when you're wrong, you know. Don't say that you were right all along.
Hey, here's what I learned this week that you will appreciate is Nick Wright's show has better ratings than Skip Bayless's right now.
I love Nick Wright. I actually really think Nick Wright is a good commentator, like good commentary. Like, yes, obviously they have the whole ratings, Colin Cowherd-y stuff of shouting and screaming, and he puts Caleb Williams at the top of Mahomes Mountain in his segment and stuff just for the crack and like the thumbnail and everything. But I actually do think his takes are pretty sound a lot of the time, and he comes off them when he's wrong.
All right. Well, since we only got 14 games this week, we got the last game of the week. The Packers at the Raiders. And the Raiders are favored by 2.
That blows my mind. What have the Raiders shown this season to... Who's better, Jimmy Garoppolo or Jordan Love?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. Maybe Jimmy G from experience. I don't fucking know.
Maybe they're the same. But yeah, I'm not sure what the Raiders have shown me to warrant being a favorite in any game so far this season. When you let up 23 points against the Steelers, then you lose all my respect.
I'm taking the Packers, and I would happily lose that game and be okay with it.
Their one win is a 17-16 win against the Broncos, the Raiders.
I just think it shows how little respect they have for the Packers team, too.
Yeah, I think that the fall from grace is the issue with that Packers pick there. So it's not that the Packers are bad, it's just where the Packers are coming from to where they are now. So people overcorrect. And I think the Packers should be favorite by 2.5. Give me the Packers and the money line on that one.
All right. Well, I'm taking the Packers and the points and praying I'm wrong. Or praying that it lands right where the Vegas wins and I win at the same time. That would be awesome. Like, I want a 1-point win by the Raiders. You know what I mean?
That'll do. That'll do.
We got some interesting games this week, Maddie.
I just think the Cowboys versus the 49ers is just one of those games where it's like, yeah, this is postseason football in the regular season this year.
See, and I'm waiting for the battle of Netflix, Minnesota versus
Yeah,
Kansas City.
I think that's fair. That's a fair battle to be having right there. Battle for the hearts of America. Kirk Cousins comes off so well liked, but obviously Mahomes has such a great season and comes off well liked in that documentary as well. I also think
He didn't come off well liked over here,
that's mad. People just hate success.
but people shit on Kirk too. Like Kirk's too corny. Kirk does this. Kirk does that. Like he didn't come off great to everybody either. So
Yeah, not everybody comes off great to everybody. The Cowboys are in a no-win situation, by the way, this week in terms of the media. Obviously, a win is a win. So the win situation is they become the favorite to be the number 1 seed in the NFC if they win the game, if they win this game. Because they get the head-to-head against the 49ers and they have the ability to play the Eagles twice. So, however, in terms of perception, and reality is all just perception, is if the Cowboys win, they'll say, well, wait until January. We need to see you do it in the playoffs. And if they lose, they'll say, oh, yeah, we told you they can't beat good teams.
oh yeah. The Dags just stuck a fucking dagger in the heart of the fucking Bills with a deep throw from Trevor Lawrence on a rope.
It'd be good to see the Jags
Calvin
actually
Ridley-
doing something fucking offensively this year.
Calvin Ridley has 7 receptions for 122 yards in this game.
That's one of the best pickups like that we've seen in terms of like playing a gamble like that.
And I still don't know why the Atlanta even agreed to get rid of him.
Yeah, they didn't really get enough in return for that pick. Do you know what's fucking heartbreaking, Jay? I'm going to be teaching English at the same time as the fucking Cowboys 49ers game just because of the time that it's on.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
because is it Monday? Is it Monday by you?
It's 20:07 in the morning here.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
how-
You're in a different day than us, even.
We're 12 hours apart. It's currently
Oh.
20 to midnight.
So you get to go to bed too. You need to get some sleep before you teach.
Teaching's a piece of piss. I'll probably stay up for a while yet. Watch at least the first slate of games.
Yeah, it's nice to be in your early 20s.
There's also the F1 on and oh god. Too
You mean like
much.
racing?
Yeah, Formula. I'll have the
ETN
American football on one thing.
touchdown.
I'll have the football on one device. I'll have the F1 on the other.
Isn't F1 the racing where the same guy has won like the last 30 races?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, Max Verstappen got crowned world champion yesterday. He's not won the last 30 races. But this season has been particularly bad in terms of one team just being totally dominant. Yeah.
I heard he's the best driver with the best car, and so nobody can ever beat him.
Well, it's always debatable on whether you're the best driver because nobody's ever in the same car. But his car is unbelievable and totally built around him. So his teammate is in second place, but like 200 points behind in terms of the race win because like he's fantastic compared to his teammate. And then the drivers that are just as good of him are in worse cars. That's how F1 works.
You know what they say about, in NASCAR, they call them stock cars, but the truth is there's nothing stock about a stock car.
They don't even pretend like they're the same in F1. They're just not. Like, it's all about who can be the most innovative and stuff. It could do with more parity after this season.
I think the only time in the U.S. they get excited for F1 is when they do that race through Miami.
Yeah, there's 3 races in the States now. My dream sport weekend in the US, by the way, is to go watch the F1 in Austin. And then because the F1 in Austin happens at the same, like, on the same weekends that the Cowboys often play. So I'd watch the F1 in Austin and then watch the evening game in Arlington, Texas, with the Cowboys playing. That would be my ideal sports weekend in the States. Maybe taking a Longhorns game while we're there.
The Longhorns, huh?
Like, not that I support the Longhorns, it just looks fun.
They just lost the Red River rivalry yesterday.
Their atmosphere looks amazing. Also, watched Caleb Williams properly sat down and watched USC for the first time. And Caleb Williams although had a shitty first half, looked fucking unbelievable in the rest of that game.
I actually saw somebody on the internet this week say that Spencer Ratliff should be the first pick in the draft.
Spencer Rattler. Interesting. What cocaine was this person on?
Yeah, I think, crack is a hell of a drug. Yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking.
Somebody's been out foraging mushrooms with Kristaps Porzingis, and he's shown them the funny hallucinating ones that they sometimes have in Latvia.
Yeah, it's just crazy when you watch people online who think that, like, and everybody's got their opinion, but when people start saying shit like they're the experts, man, I got to be like, somebody needs to slow this dude down.
Did Montana talk about my Kristaps Porzingis take on the Heffernan show?
They actually, Mark Connor had to cancel at the last minute, so they didn't record it.
Okay. Well, I hope they talk about my Porzingis take, where I've decided that the Boston Celtics are going to win it all this year, and Porzingis is going to be the reason. Right.
Because the Bucks picking up Damian Lillard doesn't make them the best.
I made the call before Damian Lillard became a Milwaukee Buck, but
fear the deer.
Unicorn for the win.
How do you let these motherfuckers score that quick? You fucking bastards.
Jacksonville being Jacksonville.
Yeah, I almost thought ETN should have not ran in the end zone and should have dropped down and ran the clock out. But then I was like, fuck it. They're going to be up by 11. And then, yeah.
Jacksonville being Jacksonville. All right. Should we get out of here?
Yes. All right, everybody. Enjoy your slate of games this week. I think it's going to be a good week of games. I'm excited for it. And we'll be back with more bullshit for you this week.
All right.
All right. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.